मुश्किल डायरीज में खिदमत और खुशियों की लम्हों से बुनी कहानियों को आप देख रहे हैं यहाँ।
हेलो, सलाम, नमस्ते। मैं हूं आपका फेवरेट इमी। इमी पहुंचा है नारगोल के बीच पर, बट बीच पर नहीं, इमी है सी हॉर्स इक्वेस्ट्रियन राइडिंग स्कूल में और इमी करेगा एक ओलंपियन के साथ गुफ्तगू। वो है इम्तियाज अनीस। तो चलिए करते हैं गुफ्तगू इम्तियाज अनीस। कम ऑन, लेट्स गो। So what exactly is happening now?
So today it's a wonderful day that you've actually come because we have a mother and daughter together. So it's a lovely sport that you can actually do with your daughter. So actually her daughter who's only 11 years old started riding and said, "Mom, I would love for you to ride as well so that we can do this together." Wow. So the mother has also started to learn to ride. Super. So now they both can do it, come together, and that's what the whole sport is about. That with an animal bonding, and they're both doing a sport because, as you know, with these teenagers these days, they don't want to spend any time with their parents. So this is a good bonding time that you can actually get with your child.
In fact, I think it started with you, right? Your mom used to ride.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
So it's like always nice to have a parent along.
Yeah.
And if the parent rides. So I also teach music. Yeah. I teach piano, and in few classes I have mother and a child.
Yeah.
So in one family I teach 3 generations: the grandmother.
Oh wow! We just had, in fact, father, mother, and son ride.
Wow!
And all 3 together. So it's a wonderful thing, and for them also they get the bonding that all 3 can do it together. They come nearly every few weekends, and they just Friday, Saturday, Sunday they ride morning, evening, all 3 are riding together. So wow, that's the beauty of
it's like your Australian family, right?
Yeah,
everybody's like huddling to help you. But you made like a lot of families throughout the world.
Yes. Very fortunate.
Like, right,
a lot of
from
people
school
opened their homes to me and helped me, and that's what the whole life is. I mean, people get so caught up into it's the journey.
True.
I had this dream of going to the Olympic Games, but who knows whether I would have got there or not, and everybody and all possibility I should not have got there.
Yes.
But it was all right place, right timing. But at least I enjoyed the whole journey of the people I met, the places I went to, the homes that I was accepted at. So those are special moments. Even till today, I always think about them as like, I hope I can create that now for these kids, that they have a home apart from home, and we go together, and we have families where we can be together and meet, and it's to give them an experience that I had. So that's the whole idea.
And you had like such a lovely time,
lucky,
right?
Very lucky.
Right. So what's happening now? They are trotting.
Yeah. So this is just a basic walk, and now trot. Come on.
So what's the guiding light for trotting? Like, what is it that the rider does?
The most important thing of the riding is trotting is the hardest part. So actually, and takes the longest because it's to do with timing. She has to go up and down and carry her own weight to go up and down. So that takes a lot of core strength. So they really need core. So even when I'm teaching them when I'm teaching riding, this is very basic. This is the most beginner riders, So they're just going up and down. You can see there's no, their hands have to be steady, and that's all it is.
Like, trotting is also like a rhythm, right?
Yeah, it's only rhythm.
Always in
it's
rhythm.
always 1, 2, 1,
yes,
2,
it's
1,
a march
2.
time.
And that's all we're trying to get into these people, that they keep that rhythm up. And it's a great workout because the exercise that they need, that she has to carry her own weight up and down. So for me, all the kids outside riding, the first thing I make them do is planks. So they have to do plank. Now my top students are doing 8 and 9 minute planks.
Wow.
Otherwise, all these little girls, at least a minute they have to do.
Yeah, because they need to build the strength.
Sit-ups, big on sit-ups, and then arm strength to hold the horse. So I make them carry that bucket, a brick, the old system.
So did you carry all that?
Yeah,
I didn't read about, I read the book.
Yes,
so I'm fortunate that I read Imtiyaz Anees's book and his journey to the Olympics, and the uphills and downhills of not getting the name. The only civilian to cut across the army and to reach at Asian Games and to Olympics, and having not reaching Japan in the Asian Games, but reaching there and not getting to participate. How was that? Yeah.
I think at that moment it was quite sad because I really dreamt about, when you're a kid, that's your only dreams to represent India and all that. And then I did everything. So it wasn't like I didn't do it. It was not, I actually got selected the correct way. I went through all the trials. I even got the blazer. I was like so excited. You actually have, you're wearing everything. And then to be cancelled at the last minute was really sad. But, I always remember stories. Like my dad was a sports person. And when you look at today's day and age and the kids and all that, my dad just told me one simple thing. He said, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to represent India. He said, well, you can't do it sleeping or crying. So the only way you can do it is riding a horse, right? He said, I said, yeah, obviously. He said, then that's what you should be doing. So it wasn't like, what should we do? Should we go to court? Should we go and fight the system? Should we, go and speak to somebody? Like we had the connections, but he said, what are you going to do? He said, the only way to prove anything is back on your horse. So it's your choice. Either you stop, that's also fine, and go into business and work and get a job. Or if this is your passion, you're calling, and you really feel you got one more, you can do it. Get back on a horse.
Asian Games after Japan. I think you went on to Equestrian Business School in Australia. Yes, in so to understand, fine, next, because lots of time we lack to understand.
And the pathway.
Yes,
that's
pathway.
the thing. And people don't have that, and then they get channelized by, also I was guided correctly. So I was lucky that I had people who just there was nothing ulterior motive. Like there was not like what I can get from it. Is he going to buy me a horse? Am I going to sell him a horse? Am I going to get a lead? It was just pure knowledge. So that's something I was really, and I always tell these kids also, surround yourself by successful people, good people. Not only just good people, because they are there. Because you can, the crowd, even in school, college, your friends, keep good people around you. So that's why that pathway I knew where Sydney was. I knew the Olympics were going to be Australia. I need to be based in Australia 5 years in advance because that's where the Olympics are going to be in. So things like that,
Plus your horse, like till last 1 year you didn't have a horse, right? Only in the end your horse came in, right?
All right, sorry, can we trot? Come on, back to trot.
So they are trotting now, basically trying to just balance on the horse. It's just a up and down movement जो अनीस सर सिखा रहे हैं और हम तो बस मज़े ले रहे हैं बीच पर trying to be with an Olympian and an inspiration who's like done everything.
And what's lovely is about we are doing this program. We also with the horses because ये सब घोड़े जो है ना, they're all thoroughbreds off the track. So they come from a very hard life, tough life. तबेले में रह कर भार मार every day galloping. When they come here, they're all hyper and like race horses. They're all this thing. Within a week, we turn them out. Coconut trees are blowing on them. The peacocks are in their stable, and that whole calmness happens. You see them; they'll all come. They'll go into the water. They get cool.
They get to be themselves.
Be themselves. So for me, these are two race horses that if you saw them when they first came, you couldn't even ride them. Today we have 20 of them.
20, wow.
And it's lovely that we have families who now call me up, say, my horse is retaring from racing, we're going to give it. Where they could make money selling them, but they still say no, at least when they see this beach, their life, they say, these horses have done so much for us and given us the enjoyment, this is their retirement. So they get a second life, second home, because racing, their career gets over very quickly by 5.
Yes.
So their career starts at 5 for us.
So if you can just, since we spoke about the thoroughbreed, can you explain to me what is the thoroughbreed, what is the blood, you have mares and
so we have
the other classifications.
Very good, keep trotting. Come on, good. So basically the thoroughbred is a lovely breed that it's a very old bred, and in India the British started breeding them for racing. So basically they're purely race horses, and the bloodlines that have come in at those days, they could get licenses. So we've had some very good American, French and Australian lines that have come into India, and then with the Indian horses, but not Indian bred horses, Indian thoroughbreds who are born here, and then that's how the program has developed for racing, purely for racing. Then through that, once their racing career is over, they've gone into polo, riding schools or jumping. So those are the 2-3 offshoots that you can, or the mares, if they were really good quality, they went back into breeding.
Okay. And if you could just explain what are the disciplines in equestrian?
So in equestrian, basically the Olympics, there are only 3 disciplines. There's dressage, there's eventing, which is all the 3, and there's pure show jumping. In the World Championships, we have more. We have 7, which then includes driving, where they have the carriage driving at full speed. So they have driving, they have reining, and they have endurance riding as well. So they have 7 other.
So that happens at Equita or what happens?
Equitana.
It happens at
there, or even at the World Championship, because the Olympics is quite a small.
Yes, I know it's one.
Space, and the countries don't have all the space. So when it's just equestrian, they have it at those World Championship events.
So tell me something like it's going to be a silly question where at times people used to ask me, So आपका बेटा करता क्या? Like घोड़ा चलाता है.
Yeah, I can't believe this is the most amazing. It's so true. So what happened was, it's a very good question you asked. So every time somebody they come from a decent society, that what is your son doing? Am I going to university? My parents were like waiting for that time for the Olympics. Once the Olympics came, he's going to the Olympics. So that was the saving grace. Till then they were saying, what a spoiled kid. All he's doing is riding horses. They didn't realize what the dream. So I have to give full credit to my parents. So I have to support that also. Like today the peer pressures of family. Yes. Everybody first thing they ask, it's like, so what is your son doing today? And he's like, no, he's in Australia. Half of them they just would defer the topic to something else to change it.
I can understand.
That was really lucky that I had parents also who really supported that.
अब हम आ गए हैं इमती के स्टेबल में, और स्टेबल में इतने ज़बरदस्त हॉर्सेस हैं. इज़ अ वंडरलैंड, अ हॉर्स वंडरलैंड. मतलब मेरा तो ख्वाब, मैं बोल रहा हूँ, मैं जी रहा हूँ, और एक ओलंपियन के साथ में आज मैं मिल के ये बातें कर रहा हूँ, प्लस ऐसे छोटे बच्चों के साथ. देखो जर्नी यहाँ से शुरू होती है, और ये जर्नी यहाँ पर आगे और इंस्पायर करती है. तो यहाँ पर कितने हॉर्सेस हैं?
We have 18 horses here.
You had 20, right?
Yeah,
if
20,
I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So यहाँ 18 घोड़े हैं, and they're all thoroughbred?
We have few warm bloods.
Okay.
But some thoroughbreds. I'll show you the difference in this.
Okay. अब हम थोड़ा सा जानेंगे घोड़े की lineage के बारे में. What, like a
cool down?
Cool down to the horse?
Because it's a bit cool, we just sponge them down and then towel them. In the mornings, they all have a sand roll after they ride because they love to roll in the sand. Then they come back and then we give them a full shampoo, wash, bath and brush,
So basically a mud bath.
Yeah. And they love it,
So like for a lot of people, the most scariest part is trying to figure out how to tackle the injuries.
Yeah.
I read about yours when you were competing and you had a minor injury.
Just towel and just take it off. And just do understeer.
So how did you cope up with that? Like, what are the injuries like, and how do you handle that?
The sport is dangerous. There's no two ways about it.
There is no
two ways. Like, but it's about being safe. Nowadays, you can wear like this, like body protectors. Our helmets are really
in
good
your
quality.
time.
And we had nothing. You know what I mean? But so the whole thing is, just stay fit. Yeah. This is just an inspiration. I hate putting it there because it's not to brag.
No, but then it has to be there, no?
That this is what we want. This
is where they have to reach.
They have to reach.
Look forward
That's the goal, to get that number, their own number.
Yeah.
And then we have all our saddles out here. So again, they're all on a saddle rack. Every saddle is cleaned, and then we just.
And where do you get the saddle? Are they made?
All over. They're made here in Kanpur. Is a big saddle maker. So we get them. Some of them are from abroad as well. That we depend. Same with the bridles. Each horse has their own bridle. Every bridle is hung correctly in his name. They're all cleaned every day with saddle soap.
देखो घोड़े का नाम भी लिखा हुआ ऊपर.
So that we can just, anybody knows where the saddle is and then we can take it. Okay. Then we'll walk through. Every stable has a name of my horse, because horses come and go.
Yes.
But I dedicate. So this is Spring Invader.
Okay.
This is Rajesh.
That's your last one, right?
Yeah,
Spring Invader.
Yeah, the Olympics. Then Rajesh is here. No, this is not Rajesh. This is Freetown.
Freetown. Freetown I didn't read about.
Yeah, Freetown is after the Olympics.
Okay.
So Al Capato was the horse that I went.
I know Baggy.
The first horse that I had this thing. So every horse I named Arizona. Of course.
Arizona you rode for a long time, right?
So every horse I try and put in. Then
Arizona you participated with
at the first station.
First station.
So like that we have a thing like
Rajesh
this,
was his favorite horse.
Yes. This is the kind of grass that comes in every morning, every evening for the horses. And then we have a shed at the back, and then we have stables all the way there in line.
150 kilo घास 18 घोड़े खाते हैं. So imagine, that's why it's called horsepower. Right.
So and grass is so important for us in India. They don't grow good grass. So for us to get good fiber is very important, because जैसे घोड़े they're vegetarian, they've got very small stomachs, so they're not supposed to eat large amounts. Small amounts, small distance.
So you two have like a PhD in horse anatomy, right?
Yes.
Because you've been like in the school plus all your
throughout our life. That's it. So
yes.
And you have to understand that, and that's my teaching these kids in the mornings, is to spend a little bit of time on them, on taking temperature, taking the heart rate, all these things. So we can do that also a little bit tomorrow, so they can show you how we do it, so that they understand a little bit of they have to look after an animal, And the best part about our sport from all other sports is that when the game khatam hota hai, racket, you put in a bag and you just leave it. Here you have to still come and look after it. Whether you came last, whether you came first, no, you still have to come, dhona hai, wash karna hai, love it, kiss it, and put it to bed.
Can you tell us about that, debacle of you not being taken to Asian Games in Japan? What was it like, and what went through? What were your emotions like, and what did you do? Because I think you met your friend in Japan, right? After
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So can you just tell us कि क्या हुआ और उसके बाद में like ऐसे चलो ठीक है, like the way you said your dad said कि बस आगे बढ़ो आगे
I mean,
निकलो.
at that moment, of course, you get shattered. It was, firstly, I didn't even know myself. A friend of mine rang me. They, like a boarding school friend. Like, what are you doing? Fooling everybody. Went to the Asian game. The papers have come. The morning, the team is leaving, and you're not on the list. Rubbish. I've got the jacket. I've got everything. I was joking. I looked at the papers, and the list is out, and mine even on the list. So that first got a bit of a shock, and I thought maybe they mistyped it. Maybe a mistake. Somebody, operator's given a wrong thing. So then I called the federation, and I said nobody's answering my calls. Nothing. I called the coach. He's also not taking my calls. He's not taking my phone calls. I'm like, this is really odd. Yeah. Then I realized, okay, now there's something to it. So then when I really went into it, I realized that last minute politics are taking place, and they had put somebody else. And for me, I was too young, and I was just like, God, why me? Like you always think first the question is why me. Then I was just, why me? Life is not fair. Let me tell you. The world is like that. You have to be stronger and get better, and go to a place that nobody else can. So the Olympic Games, nobody had been. There's no trials. So you do it yourself. Then I said, Dad, I can't get to Asian Games. We're going to Olympics. He said, that's your choice. You make that decision today. You want to do it, then you have to put your whole heart into it.
So then you had to qualify the next Asian Games,
Yes,
and
yes,
then
yes.
the qualification
Actually,
then puts
the
you.
next Asian Game I didn't try. I went straight for Olympics. On that path, I qualified because I
qualified,
said,
yeah.
I'm not sure whether they'll select me or not. Then they called me. So that
Okay.
was, I didn't do any selections. I didn't
So
do
you
any
went for
trials.
3-star, right?
Yeah. And when I went, because I went higher at that level, so then they said, can you be on the team? So that was a real honor. And you know what the amazing part is, which I just have to tell you this lovely story, is that even now, after all these years, today I went and taught at 61 Cavalry. I taught at AC, which are where I grew up riding. So I'm so lucky that even though happened, that was politics, move on, I'm today able to give back to those officers. I feel like, I lived in those barracks. I lived with those soldiers. They really looked after me as family. They were
Like
so
Maqsood Ali Khan.
Yeah, Maqsood Ali
and-
Khan and all that. Even Bishnoi, Colonel Khan, all
yes.
that. They were like really spoiled. I mean, like really looked after me. I was their own son. I was adopted by them. So for me to be able to give back today, when I went back to cavalry, it was just wonderful to that.
So just explain to them now, what's the cavalry like? What is cavalry?
So 61st Cavalry is the only horse cavalry in India, and it's the only horse regiment in India actually. So it's actually meant from the whole British time, where the whole idea was they learned how to ride horses, they played polo, and any ceremonial moment that happened, like when you have that 26th January and all that sort of parades, that's what the
cavalry came out and paraded.
So it's a very prestigious organization as well.
What is equestrian riding like in our country now? And since you participated in the Olympics, how do you see the future? How is it on grassroots level?
So at the grassroots level, I think it's growing quite fast.
Okay.
There lots of riding schools have opened up. In my time, there were very, very few, and they were absolutely very scarce. So I think that growth has gone. The interest has gotten to another level. So I think it's a matter of time that it will really become a force to deal with. There are lots of kids doing it because they've really realized what the animal can do for these kids. And what amazing about another thing about our sport is not every kid is sporty. Like you don't have to be the fastest runner, or you don't have to throw the ball the fastest to do riding. So it's a bond. And so there are a lot of people have found that niche. The second thing it's also helping is a lot of kids who are struggling with school, or dyslexic, or have got learning disorder. Horses help them in a very big way because it gives them that empowerment. It's like when you're 18, the first car you drive, you really feel the world. I like the world is mine. At 18, you don't need anything else when you can drive, right? So it's the same thing here. Look at these kids, little kids, and look at the animals that they're controlling. So that is what I think is going to really change this sport for everybody else.
Okay, and how expensive is it for a person to start and prolong, and how long can I know that your story you kind of reached 26 and you wanted to compete in Olympics. Okay, so is it age bound?
No, that's another thing about our sport. It's not age bound like every other sport. Your career is only over by 21. Ours start at 21. Like if you look at the Olympic Games or any of the World Championships, the top riders are all in their 40s. Okay. So between 30 and 40 is when you're in your prime. Okay. So it's a much later stage sport because there's a lot of experience, a lot of strength, a lot of time. Now younger age kids are 19, 20 are doing, but very few here and there because they've come from a equestrian family already. Okay. So then it becomes over. But if you're an outsider, it takes a long time, to get that experience, to get that knowledge. So it does. When you come to the cost part, everything I always look at it. It's a matter of adjustability.